You know, that kind of movement that starts almost silently, behind the scenes, far from the spotlight, without making much noise, but gradually starts gaining strength, growing, and taking on massive proportions. Well, that's exactly the situation that has started to unfold over the last few hours at St. James Park. The atmosphere behind the scenes at Newcastle is more intense than ever, and those who follow closely know that when this sort of movement begins, it means something huge is coming. And look, don't think this is going unnoticed by the sharp eyes of the British press or the passionate Newcastle fans. You know, that strange silence that actually says way more than any official statement? Well, it's very present. Late-night phone calls, behind closed doors, meetings, and that curious coming and going of agents and club directors. All of this is creating an atmosphere that leaves any fan wondering what's about to happen. And if you're that fan who always likes to be one step ahead, never misses out on insider information, and wants to follow everything firsthand, do this right now. Subscribe to the channel. This really helps our work to keep growing, and of course, guarantees that you'll always get the hottest news, sourced from the most reliable outlets in English football. So don't waste time. Hit that subscribe button, and let's follow every detail of this story together. And believe me, it's not just any movement happening. What's going on involves one of the fans' biggest wishes: major reinforcements. Players who can genuinely raise the level of this squad and make Newcastle fight hard for big things next season. The hunt for new signings isn't slowing down, and the targets are seriously ambitious. Some names that surfaced in recent days have surprised even those who closely follow the market. But hold on, fan. We're about to reveal everything to you, and for you to understand how things got to this point, it's important to remember that Newcastle has been monitoring the market very carefully. After signing the young winger Antonio Cordero from Malaga, the Magpies board has been focusing on strengthening some very specific areas. One of them, of course, is the attack, where negotiations are heating up. And here comes the big reveal, fan. According to information from UOL Sport, confirmed by the British portal Team Talk, Newcastle has overtaken Chelsea in the race to sign Brazilian striker Joao Pedro from Brighton. That's right, you heard it correctly. Newcastle made a huge move in this negotiation, got ahead of Chelsea, and even more importantly, has already agreed personal terms with Joao Pedro. This information caught a lot of people by surprise, especially since Chelsea had been leading the race. But Newcastle's sporting project, offering direct Champions League football and a starring role in the squad, played a massive part in the player's decision. To give you an idea of the size of this deal, Brighton has made it clear they'll only accept a bid in the region of £60 million. And even with that high price tag, the Magpies board didn't back down. On the contrary, the latest behind-the-scenes information suggests that an official offer is being prepared right now. Yes, fan, this deal could happen at any moment, and the signs are increasingly clear that Joao Pedro is much closer to wearing the black and white shirt than anyone imagined just days ago. And it's a good idea for you to stay tuned here on the channel, because the moment we have any update, you'll be the first to know. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Here you stay updated with all the details about the negotiations, the behind-the-scenes moves, and everything that could completely change the future of our Newcastle United. Hit that subscribe button now and come with us to follow every step of this story. And it doesn't stop there. Besides Joao Pedro, the behind-the-scenes at St. James Park is buzzing with other names being considered by the board. One of them is none other than Marcus Rashford from Manchester United. Yes, fan, you heard it right. Rashford is on the list of potential signings, and Newcastle's idea would be to bring the forward on a one-season loan. Things aren't looking great at Old Trafford, and the player himself is now considering a move, especially because United won't be playing in the Champions League. But here's a very important detail. Manchester United, at this stage, is not showing much interest in loaning Rashford. The Red Devils board prefers a permanent transfer, which obviously makes negotiations more complicated. Still, the Magpies are keeping a close eye, monitoring the situation, and ready to act if an opportunity arises. It's worth remembering that Newcastle's interest in strengthening the attack isn't new. Recently, reports also suggested that the club has made inquiries about West Ham's Mohamed Kudus, a highly versatile player, capable of playing in multiple positions across the attack, and someone who would undoubtedly raise the technical level of the team. Kudus, in fact, is also being targeted by several top clubs in Europe. And for those who think the focus is only on the attack, it's not. Behind the scenes, there's also information that Newcastle has reopened talks for the signing of centre-back Evan Nektica, currently at Roma. The club is looking for a defender who can come in and immediately compete for a starting spot, and Nektica is seen as a very realistic option, especially since his signing would be more affordable compared to other names like Mark Gahey. Now, going back to the name that's been dominating the headlines over the past few hours, Joao Pedro isn't being considered just as an alternative to Alexander Isak. On the contrary, Newcastle's idea is to have the Brazilian as a partner in attack alongside the Swede. That's because Joao Pedro has the versatility to play not only as a centre-forward but also as a second striker or even a number 10, floating between the lines and creating chances. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense, right? Last season, Joao Pedro had an absolutely fantastic campaign in the Premier League. He scored 10 goals in 27 matches, plus crucial contributions that caught the attention of several clubs including Chelsea, and now of course our Newcastle. However, his relationship with Brighton has taken a hit in recent weeks, which has made it easier for the Magpies to move in for the signing. Newcastle's sporting project today is one of the most attractive in England and even in Europe, and that has weighed heavily in negotiations. After all, we're talking about a club that's going to play in the Champions League, has a passionate fan base, and more than ever, a solid growth project with heavy investments not only in the squad but also in the club's infrastructure. So, fan, if you want to follow every detail of this negotiation, every market movement, and everything going on behind the scenes at our beloved Newcastle United, you already know. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stay tuned because at any moment, a bombshell update could drop. According to UOLL Sport, talks between Newcastle and Joao Pedro are very advanced, and there's a real expectation that an official bid will be submitted in the next few days. Brighton, on the other hand, knows it will be very difficult to hold on to the player, especially given the player's desire to play in the Champions League and be part of a project where he plays a starring role. And here's one more detail you need to know. Fan Joao Pedro is extremely excited about the possibility of wearing the Newcastle shirt. Discussions regarding his wages have already been fully agreed upon, and now, basically, all that's left is for the clubs to agree on the transfer fee. If all goes well, and the signs are very positive, Joao Pedro could be announced as Newcastle's new signing very soon. And without a doubt, this would be one of the biggest deals of this transfer window, not just because of the player's talent but also due to the impact he could have on the pitch and what it represents for strengthening the squad. So that's it, fan. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like. Leave a comment below about what you think of this potential signing, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and share this video with other Newcastle fans. This really helps our work keep growing and bringing you the best and hottest updates straight from behind the scenes at St. James Park. See you next time.